to go to.
Okay, thank you, thank you for that. If a student has a problem outside there, it depends on the nature of the problem. Sometimes students engage in criminal activities outside there. We have had incidences where students are caught maybe selling bang, or recently there was a case of a student who was implicated in burglary and so on and so forth. So what we cannot really interfere with the work of the. Remember, these are people who are above 18, so they are responsible for their actions. So if implicated, then we cannot stop the security apparatus, law enforcement officers from proceeding with their, work of, maybe if they are investigating, and if they find enough evidence of charging the student, all they do is to report to us, and they report to the university, and the office that they report to is the dean of students. And the dean of students liaises with the parent. Now, if a student maybe has a problem with the most common issues that come from outside there is in relation to accommodation, hostels. Sometimes we find very rough landlords, or even the caretakers themselves, they arbitrarily raise the rent without warning, and then they throw our students. So we try to intervene, although really the office of the dean of students does not have jurisdiction. Of course, we have the rent tribunal, but most often it may not reach that level. But we try. I mean, the office tries. We mediate. We tell them that we help you, and on many occasions they agree, and the matter is settled. Now, something maybe that the students need to know is that sometimes, which is something that we are going to talk about in the next issues of integrity, sometimes our students also, they they sneak from their areas. They go in the evening. One day they take one sufuria, the following day they take a bed, and then by the time the landlord realizes, the fellow is not there, and he has an outstanding rent arrears of maybe 10,000. So again, we try to use the university mechanism to help the landlord. So depending on the challenge that the student has. But sometimes some students have challenges, financial challenges, and we even bring them to the university to be accommodated because they are being thrown out there. So depending on the nature of the problem, the matter will be handled in, in its own unique way. Thank you.
Yes, if I may come in very shortly.
Yes.
Then
yes.
Yes, that's on the issue again that Dr. Muyaka was talking about. That is the international students. I think if you have any international students here, or you have friends who are international students, I think there's now a university international students office that is actually located next to the opposite the procurement offices. So there's an officer who is in charge on all of that, and the issues of immigration and so on, as Dr. Miyaka was mentioning, actually can be helped through that, and student pass and so on. But I also wanted to mention to the students among the service centers we have in the university, allow me to mention that there's also the outreach center, which engages them even beyond the 4 years. Because it is a community-centered unit of the university, and it is actually the program that has enabled this training to go on is actually domiciled at the outreach center, and there are many services and stakeholders that we engage with who actually have opportunities sometimes, and opportunities that we can link our students to. That is the outreach center, which is actually opposite the gate B. Many of them rarely know about it, but it is also one of the service centers within the university. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that had also escaped my mind. Um, we also need to be having a student center with, all facilities and, outlets like eateries and so on and so forth. We've not reached it there yet, but the current student center, we only have, I think, one eatery and I think some few services. I'm aware that the student leaders have made a proposal to convert some of their offices into maybe shops and other recreational facilities. They want to put there a pool and so on and so forth. But ideally, we need to be having a student center where students can enjoy some of those facilities. Yes. Stella? Okay. Looks like we have exhausted on that particular area, unless there is one more. There isn't. Sorry, there is some construction going on. I don't know. Let me. So can I maybe spend a few minutes on my second session, Daktari?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
And you have about 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Thank you. Area that I was going to talk about is on community engagement principles. Community engagement principles. Now, as we said, we are members of a community of scholars, and we are members of the community, and therefore we will find ourselves engaging in the community. And what is this actually? What do we mean? I mean, here we are talking about maybe when a group of people come together with a common cause, maybe they want to solve a problem. You'll find yourselves in a class of maybe 50 students. You'll find yourself in a class of 100 students, in a team of football or a club or society, or could be any of the groups. You might be in the CU, you might be among the Muslims, you might be a member of Engineering Students Association. Inevitably, you will therefore be collaborating with your colleagues with a common purpose, maybe academic, maybe welfare. I've seen very many students occasionally. I saw even this morning a group of students had come together because one of their colleagues had lost their father, and so therefore they are coming up to support. Sometimes I've seen students forming WhatsApp groups in order to raise funds for their colleagues who are having financial challenges and so on and so forth. This could be within the university or even outside the university, or even cutting across, maybe in the university and also outside. You will also find yourselves engaging with the members of the public, particularly when we have, I know, for example, the Catholic students, they opted to put up their worship place outside. Of course, the university, I think I didn't mention this, the university has provided spaces where students can worship. But for the Catholic students, I have seen them, they opted to go out, they are putting up a church. And so definitely they will be engaging. And most of the time, this engagement is with a purpose. Now, when we talk about principles, we are talking about basic or fundamental truths or beliefs that upon which any system is founded. You know, principles of engagement, principles of depending on the nature of that which we are talking about, that which form the foundation. You can talk about scientific or guiding principles of operation or so, or and so on and so forth. So what is it? What are we talking about here? And in engagement, there are quite a number of things that can offer guidance. However, we can just mention a few here, one of which is respect and empathy. And what do we mean by respect? We are talking about if you are engaging with other students, if you are engaging with members of the community, one of the guiding principles is self-respect. And what do we mean here by, self-respect? We are talking about personal values here. What are your values? What are your beliefs? What do you believe in? Are you a Christian? Are you a traditionalist? Are you an atheist? You know. So please, sorry, there's someone who interrupted. So you need to examine yourself. What do you believe in? And most often, these are the things that influence one's behavior, and they are acquired over time. They could have, you could have acquired it from maybe your family, you could have acquired it from the church that you go in, or experiences, so that you say, for me, that is not for me. You'll hear somebody say, no, that is not me, I can't do that, because they know what they value. And these include maybe honesty, integrity. You know, there are some people who are compassionate, they like helping others because of their nature, out of their values, because of how they have been brought up. Now, in relation to that, you will find that there are certain things that one can do, and there are certain things that they are not able to do. In other words, you have boundaries. You'll hear someone say, that one, leave me out. If it is about maybe bribing or something, no, that one, leave me out. If it's about engaging in extreme games and sports, no, just leave me out. Maybe it's because of some traumatic experience that they had in the past. And that is about self-respect. So as you engage with others, be it as a group, you know your boundaries. You also, when you respect yourself, you also practice self-care. You know, these are activities that promote, well-being, health-wise, and so on and so forth. The other thing is respect for others. You know, you should be able to listen to others. You should have an open mind. You should be cautious. You know, how do you relate with other people? Are you rough, or are you cautious, or are you caring? Are you fostering some good relationship? These are some of the things that you need to consider when we talk about respecting others, respecting self, and respecting others. Another thing or principle that you need to understand is inclusivity and diversity. Now, you will realize that in the community, we have people who are unique, and they are from diverse backgrounds. By the way, we have students from all parts of the country. We have students we have international students from West Africa, from Central Africa, from I think some Southern African states. You will have people from coast, you will have people from the Western, and so on and so forth. So you need to understand that you are in an environment of diverse people, and they have unique views about the same things. So this is something that you need to internalize, and the university also attempts to achieve equity and equality. And as you also engage, this is something that you also need to understand or appreciate. And because of our diversity and our uniqueness, we need to create an inclusive environment. We need to create an inclusive environment. The other thing that should guide engagement in these activities are transparency and accountability. You know, of course, when you're talking about you might be given a responsibility, say to be a treasurer or to hold resources. Therefore, you must give accurate information as and when necessary. You need to disclose information. Don't say that as a treasurer, you are the amount of money available for the club is my secret. No, that one is for public consumption. There should be clarity at all times in whatever you are engaged in. And of course, accountability. You should be answerable and expect consequences. Very often we deal with students who have probably raised. Luckily, this has gone down dramatically. In the past, we used to have students who collect money, especially in the name of maybe they want to go and visit. It's an a tour, but they are not able. Some even were raising funds purportedly to help needy students, but eventually they ran into problems. And maybe lastly, collaboration and partnership. You need to build strong collaborative relationships within the community that you are a member of, in order to realize the objectives of that community engagement. Otherwise, then you may not be able to realize that. And I think my time is up. Maybe just to quickly mention some of the challenges. You may find that people may be resistant to transparency. They may fear accountability, and there may be a lot of overload on information. But the mitigation against all this is that there should be openness. We should be fair in our engagements, and also we have to give information as and when necessary. Those are some of the principles, and once this, we will be able to build good community engagements. However, maybe to improve on that, you need to improve on communication, have clear communication. You need to be clear about the expectations, and then also make use of feedback and regular reporting and evaluation, and bring everybody on board. Once you bring everybody on board, the objectives of this engagement will be beneficial to each and every member, as well as the rest of the community. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Hello? Yes.
I've tried to minimize within the 10 minutes
Yeah.
that I was given.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we couldn't get a better person than the Dean of Students to just orient us into what a university is and how a university relates in terms of the internal offices and also outside. We are more than grateful for that. I don't know if all of us who are online, we know how to appreciate a good presenter like Dean of Students using our emojis. You can go to React, and I can see Festus has already done that. We're just appreciating you, Dean, for the good work. Tony, Siteka,
Thank you.
yeah, and everyone is doing the same. Thank you, because we are pressed with time. Allow me to introduce the second speaker, and we have already introduced the speaker. It's just an issue of ushering him in so that he's able to build on what the Dean of Students has already introduced to us. For those of you who are listening, you can appreciate why the module on community is very important, because all other modules that are coming are building on someone who is already in a university. And for you to be able to get what those modules are talking about, you must already be surviving and ability to be able to get services and also remain in terms of stability mentally and so on and so forth. And that's why this module is very, very important to have come fast. So allow me to welcome Dr. Heka to pick it up from where the Dean has left. Dr. Heka, please, if you're okay.
Yes, I'm good. And I hope you can hear me. Please let me know if I'm audible.
I can hear you clearly.
Can hear you, Doctor.
And see you are also showing
Thank you
something.
very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening once again, everyone in this call. It's a pleasure to be taking you through this section, or the second session, which is on community engagement strategies. You have already been taken by the Dean through the university community and the various service points that we have in the university. And as we start, remember, this is like a funnel-shaped kind of a training where we are starting from where we are and we are moving out. Because remember, you are at the university so that you can be trained, and later on you can have an impact with the people you are interacting with outside the gates of the university, what people normally like calling out there. So this out there is what we want to decode. What is it, and how are we supposed to engage with the out there, so that the interactions can be beneficial to both ourselves and also to the community, because most of the time we tend to forget ourselves. And remember, a workman who remembers everything and neglects himself is, a person or a professional who does that is like a workman who neglects his own tools. So we need to know what are the, as we follow those principles of engagement. Taking you through this session has already been mentioned. My name is Heka Kamau. I'm a lecturer at the university, the Department of Family and Consumer Sciences. I'm a food science and nutrition specialist, and also I have an interest in community development. And as mentioned, currently I am in the Outreach Center as the coordinator, and also under the TAGDev project, I am the coordinator or the lead for work package 1, which is on stakeholder engagement. And as was mentioned, this is the reason as to why I'm taking us through this part. Now, I know it's online, but I like having a very interactive session, and I like engaging my participants. So I'm going to call out at random and ask you to maybe respond to something that I have. I'm first going to ask Moses. And when I ask, kindly respond very fast because we don't have a lot of time. Moses Chebon, when you hear the statement, live and let live, what does it mean to you? Live, of L-I-V-E.
Live and let live.
Yes.
Live and let live.
Yeah.
I think when we get into a certain institution, like we should engage ourselves fully, and then afterwards we leave the place as it was initially. So we should not dismantle or engage negatively within that place. I think that is how I think.
Okay, thank you very much. Consolata Atieno, are you there? Kindly unmute if you are there. And I want you to tell me what comes to mind, or do you agree with the statement? Do to others as you'd like them, or as you like done to you.
Personally?
Yeah, I'm going to someone else. Who is there? Who is talking? Was it? Okay. If Consolata is not there, Irene Nandwa.
Yes, hello.
Kindly, I would like us to move very fast.
Yes.
So quickly unmute and mention. It doesn't have to be right or wrong. What comes to mind? Irene Nandwa.
Yes, hello.
Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think the statement means that we should treat others the way we would like to be treated.
Do you agree with it?
Yes, I do agree with it.
Okay. Adier Bior Alier. There's a statement that people raised to love would do anything for you, but people raised to survive would do anything to you.
That's a
you
true
agree?
Yes, I agree with that. Should I have to elaborate? It's okay.
Yes, I want you to elaborate just a little bit.
Okay, sometimes like good people, like a person with a good intention must do a good thing to you with no expectation. And you can realize if anyone is doing something for you in a way that you can think of it that this guy is expecting something from you, that means he or she is not there for you. So it is okay to say that statement is true.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a lady called Bridget. I'm trying to be gender balanced. There's a statement, Bridget, if you're there, can I let me know very fast? Unmute and let me know you're there. Bridget, I just have that one name. If she's not there, Marion, you're there, Marion Dede. You can unmute and let me know you're there so that I don't.
Yes. Please repeat the statement.
Yeah, this is the statement. Treat people well. It's the only investment that never loses value.
Okay, I agree with the statement. I do agree.
Why?
Because I personally believe we live in a world with people, so we are going to constantly interact with people and stuff. So for that reason, we should treat people well as an investment as we are living. You may need people, you will need people at one point of your life as you, you may need people, that is all.
Thank you very much. There's a football team, for those of you who love football, called Liverpool, and they say you never walk alone. I'm not a fan of any, I'm just using as an example. And there's also a statement that no man is an island. Therefore, we live within a given community or an ecosystem. I'm not going to explain so much on the objectives that we have on this session, because ideally we need to know how the strategies that are there in engaging with the community and how we can do it. But in the interest of time, let me not go to the objective, but I can share that later. But when I was asking those questions, I was looking at the community dynamics. When you say live and let live, we have people from different cultures, different religions, different backgrounds. In our country, for instance, we have different ethnic groups. Do we assume that some people or some individuals do not belong to a certain place because of who they look, or I mean, who they are, or how they look, or their physique, or something like that? When Martin Luther King Jr. said that he looks forward to the day when his children or his people would be judged based on the content of their character, but not the color of their skin. He was talking in a certain context. And this is the context that informed his decision or his words at that time, because he was seeing what is happening. There were dynamics that were in place. So we have relationships, we have different setups, diversity, social activities, and so on, as you can see on that slide. So many interacting factors. And remember, all of them, you have to start interacting with these people because you don't live in vacuum. You're going to be interacting with all these people and all these stakeholders, people within the community, and we shall look at the various stakeholders that are there. You're going to be interacting with them. How then can you interact with them in such a way that you do not interfere negatively with their life, but you leave a footprint that is positive in their lives and also for yourself? Now, when you're interacting with communities or when you're interacting with different stakeholders, there are things we need to do or we need to know. And one of the things that we have to do is what we refer to as the needs assessment. And when we are saying this, as you've been told what TAGDev is and what it wants to achieve, you were informed of that when you were beginning the session. There is also the reason as to why you are on campus as a student, and the reason as to why you've even joined this training. So of course, when you leave campus, you will go out there, you will be working in a certain organization or an NGO or your own business or something like that. You will have customers, you will have your employees, you have regulators, policymakers, and all these are individuals interacting with, or stakeholders that you will be interacting with, because the community, as we have seen, is a mashup of different personalities from different backgrounds and different faiths and beliefs and so on. And we cannot exclude some of them. If we are not here by choice, it happened by chance, and everyone has a right to be there. So when you are interacting with a given community or a section of the community, there are some things that need to be in place or that you need to understand. Because one, you need to know what you will do, how you will do it, where and when to do it, where you are doing it, and whom or to whom you are doing it, and with whom you are doing it. It has to be very clear, because otherwise, you might find yourself in a session or interacting with a group of people, and whoever you are telling them is totally not relevant to them, or they switch off, they're not there with you. There is a motivational speaker the other day I was listening who was saying she was invited to an event. And when she went to this event, she's an entertainer, of course, got there, she does not know anyone, but it was a function involving a family. And the husband thought, although they were wondering who is this people that is entertaining people, the husband was wondering, probably it's my wife who invited. The wife is probably it's my husband who invited. But anyway, she did her job so well. And when she went to ask for the payment, she was told, talk to the treasurer. And she talked to the treasurer and was given the remaining balance because the down payment had been paid already. When she, of course, left, and on the other side, she was being waited for to go and deliver or do the entertainment. She cleared, she was given the money, and when she was leaving, she was saying about 10 minutes after leaving, maybe some of you have seen this, she was called and asked, who are you? Who invited you? So rudisha hiyo pesa haraka sana kabla achukuliwe hatua. She did her job, yes. She entertained the people. They didn't have a problem when they were being entertained. But is that where she was supposed to be? Now, she did the right thing and she did her job to the wrong audience, in the wrong place, and now she's almost being treated like a criminal. Whereas on the other side, where she was supposed to be, she's being treated as a defaulter or a con person. So when you do the right thing, the right time, the right place, then we can say that the impact is there. Now, for this to happen, that is why the step one that we have is the needs assessment. And again, because I don't have a lot of time, when I ask a question, I would like you to respond very fast so that we go on. There is somebody called Shiheli Daviston. When you hear of needs assessment, what comes to mind? Needs assessment. Shiheli, if you're there. Selimo? Is somebody called Selimo? You can unmute and talk. Because this is not a lecture kind of a thing. I want us to interact. I want us to move together. Yeah? So please, if I mention your name quickly, you can unmute. If you don't have an idea, just say you're not sure. But in the interest of time, let's move on. And we say that when you're talking of needs assessment, somebody has unmuted, is talking. It is a structured. Yes, yes.
Okay, I think it is. Okay, I think it is the gaps in the community.
What's happening in the community?
Gaps.
Gaps. And therefore you're trying to identify those gaps, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe fill them. Yeah, when we talk of needs assessment, and we are talking of strategies of interacting with our communities, remember, for you to be relevant, as she has rightly mentioned, you need to respond to a certain need within the community. Therefore, there is need to seal a certain gap that is there. How do you know whether there is a gap? Let me give you another example. A friend of mine was working with one of the foreign aid organizations in Yatta, in Eastern Kenya, and they realized that in this region, they have a problem of malnutrition. And therefore, they decided that what they will do, they will introduce dairy goats to the people in this community so that they can have the milk, and also introduce the growing of what we call the Dolichos labrum. Is it jahe? What we call jahe? Because it's rich in proteins and it can be helpful for these people. And therefore, they distributed the seeds for the jahe. They gave these people improved breeds of goats that can produce a lot of milk and so on. And when later on they came to assess or the impact of this, unakuta ile kashamba mlipanda jahe ya project imelipa vizuri, imewekwa vizuri. When you ask the farmer, they tell you, hiyo ni shamba ya project, tunachunga vizuri. When it came to the goats, they are well kept, yes. But the moment one falls sick, the goat falls sick, they call the project officer. Ile mbuzi ya mradi ni mgonjwa. Hatujui tutamfanyia nini. Yet the farmer has some other goats that are the indigenous and they are being taken care of. And when they did the analysis or this, and they're trying to find out why are the people not owning this, and they realized it is because they did not own that project. The people were not involved. There was no co-creation. We assumed that the people knew what they that we knew what the people needed, and therefore we did not ask them what they needed. And that is a major problem when we're interacting with our community or when you're interacting with our communities. And therefore, you need to know what is this need that they have, what is actually some of the times the way they are using the local, what we call the indigenous knowledge. What are they using to address this gap? And therefore, as we come in, how can we improve it? Therefore, how can we work with them? What we are calling in TAGDev, co-creating. And therefore, that's why I said that needs assessment is a structured process of identifying community requirements, gaps, and improvements. And we do this so that we can ensure there is efficient resource allocation, improved decision making, which is foundational for program planning. You are engaging with your stakeholders. If you do not involve them in the decision making, that is the first step towards failure, because they will not own that which you are bringing to them. And this is not just by the way, it is proven in project operations. I don't know if somebody seems to be messing with my presentation, yeah, and drawing some lines here and there. So when you're doing this needs assessment, we need to, number one, identify the stakeholders. Because when you're working with stakeholders, just like we said, there are so many that are involved. But whom do you actually get to work with? It depends on the objective that you have. Within this community that you have gone, you've come from, let me give an example, Kaptagat Forest, for instance. And these people, you are trying to train them or to bring them to embrace agroforestry. But then they are being pushed out of the forest because of the policies that we have, the government. How then do you engage them? Because they might think you have been sent by the government or by whichever actor is there to push them out of the forest where they have been working. So when you're talking of the stakeholders, whom are you going to bring together? Which blend of people or players, or what I may call the ecosystem of actors, whom are you going to bring onto the table so that you can start engaging with them? How are they relevant, okay, to what you want to do? How are they buying in, and how can they assist you to move your agenda? Okay, not force it down the people's throats, but help you to get a buy-in of the people that you want, or the members of the community that you want to work with or that you're interested in. So we have to engage, or you have to engage in a process of identifying them. Who, that is the point I was talking about. Then we have to engage in what we call information gathering. Like what I told you, you've gone to this community and there is that gap when you're doing the needs assessment. And you want to know, what can we do, or what have you been doing? What is not working, so that we can come and work together with you, or we can assist you. Remember, you never go, as I mentioned, with the idea that we know everything, we have the solutions. No, the community or any player will never accept that, because everyone wants to be involved. And there are different ways of doing that, and I'm sure you will learn through the various research classes that you will undertake throughout your years in the university, or for those who have already gone through some of them, where you have surveys, you have interviews, you're talking to key informants, people in the community. You might go there and, for instance, you have gone to a place like where Kibor came from. He's respected in that area, for instance, or such a man is a man of stature. People know him. And they know if so-and-so says, then it stands. They may not have a position. They may not have power, but they have a way of influencing or moving the community. And you need to identify them. You know, how best can I work with them? And then when you gather this information, then you have to look at it, analyze. What are the people saying? And remember, this is happening in collaboration. You've gone to the people and asked them, okay? You have gone to your stakeholders, not just the people. Remember we talked about the communities and all the actors who are there, whether they are industry players, whether they are government, non-governmental organization, investors, anyone that you're working with or who is of interest to a project or an initiative that you have. Then after that, there is needs prioritization. And of course, there will be trainings, I believe, later on how you are prioritizing. What is urgent and what is not so urgent, what is important and what is not important, And you have a matrix of identifying then what action should I start with. For instance, if you go to a community and they are suffering from issues of malnutrition, just as an example, you can't go and start training them on proper food preparation strategies, for instance. We're going to what we call social protection. You first have to start with provisional measures. You know, you're prioritizing the needs. Those people, as of that time, they don't care about how food is prepared. They care about a hungry stomach. They care about a child who is dehydrated, a child who is sick. They care about that problem at that particular time. And therefore, there is need to prioritize that one and address it very fast. Then after that primary concern have been addressed, we go in as we are moving towards the root cause of this problem. So where was the child hungry, or where was their hunger? There is no food, it is not available. Why is the food not available? Is it the distribution channel? Is it the price? Is it that the farms are not productive? Was it that the weather was bad that particular year? Is it a problem that has been there all along, or is a problem that has now come up and can be addressed? So you're looking at that and then saying, how can we make these people independent? It's just an example I'm giving, okay, of prioritizing. So you address the immediate need, that is or what I can call the symptom. Then you go in and start looking at the causative agents and address them. And that is where you might find in the long run, you are even seeing, okay, they are hungry because the land is not productive, because there is no water. Then can we come up with irrigation systems like the Galana Kulalu, for instance? Okay. But first of all, you've given people the food. No one will listen to you on an empty stomach. That's just an example, but it's a scenario that can play out in so many different scenarios. Then you look at, yes, now we have given them the farms and so on. Once they have produced enough, how can we make sure that they are protected from the shocks that could arise later on? Okay, that's what we're talking about now, safeguarding or protecting the livelihood, so that this problem that we had is no longer going to be there. And this is an intervention that can take a long period of time. It may need policies. It may need coming up with granaries, for instance, for storing food, or warehouses and such like things. So all of those are eventually aimed at solving a problem at the community level. But you started with prioritizing the immediate need. You started with identifying the immediate need. Then you've addressed it. And you've gone back to address even the root cause, so that this problem is not recurring and the people can be self-sufficient from their own. And therefore, you don't need to be there or to keep there anymore. They can sustain themselves from that point. So once you've prioritized, then there is recommendation formulation based on what you have identified, the needs you have identified, the problems that are there. And therefore, when you come now to implement, you're not implementing alone again the intervention that you have, but it is in conjunction with this community that you are working with. So it is not you who is doing it as an individual, but it is you with the people who are there or who need that information. Okay. So I've talked of the identification of the stakeholders, and there are different strategies that can be used to identify them. Okay. And when you're talking of the identification of these stakeholders, it is not, again, something that is so abstract that you have to think about it so much. They will be there when you have identified the issue, because they are there within the community. Ecosystem marking, documents reviews, consultations, including people from diverse perspectives, categorizing these stakeholders. And if I may give, again, as a very small, I hope you guys are on. So if I mention you, please quickly unmute and answer very fast. Brian, if you go to a community and they have a problem with water security or water issues, they don't have enough water, who would you think is the first person that you might think of talking to? The problem is water. Brian? I would like you to touch the unmute button very fast if you're there and respond, and we move on. Brian, once you come in, we will mention. Dorcas, you've gone to a community and you've realized the farm, mahindi yenye huko yote ni yellow. Whom do you think is the first person you need to talk to? Dorcas, are you there? Guys, I need you to respond so that we can move. Isaac Konyancha, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Yes, you have gone to a place and you have identified that the maize yenye imekuwa hapa yote iko yellow. Inakaa nyasi. Who do you think is the first person you need to talk?
Here, it depends. Maybe the person like an MCA or...
Okay, you talk to an MCA, fine. That's why. There's a reason as to why you thought of the MCA, right?
Yeah.
Because you think there's something he can do. Faith, in the same scenario, Faith, if you're there, in the same scenario, whom would you talk to? Faith, are you there? Or anyone else who's there apart from the staff, students? Whom else would you talk to? Umeenda mahali ulikuwa una interact na wakulima wako ama any other community na umeidentify mahindi kwa hiyo area yote iko yellow inakaa nyasi. Anyone? I need just 2 responses. Very fast.
Yes. For me, I'll start with the farmer so that we identify the problem first. After getting the information, I'll have to check on the thief now.
Okay. The farmer has come in. Another response. Thank you, Aria.
Hello?
One more. Yes, please.
I think I'll talk to the farmer first. Then afterwards, I will talk to the agricultural extension officer within that place, that area, so that at least we can see the way forward concerning the same.
Okay, so in that scenario already, we have the MCA, that's a politician, we have the farmer, that is the primary producer, and we have the extension officer, that's the government agency or the expert in co-production. So already you see, you're thinking along a certain line. You're trying to map who is involved. By the time you make that decision, you're thinking, who is involved? By the time this happens, who could have an interest? Who can help? And that is what we are talking about. You may go and talk to the MCA, and the MCA tells you, I think the best person to talk to in this case, we need to talk to the crops officer of the county. You go to the crops officer and they tell you that area, we have been there. We know the problem that is there. Now, the person we need to talk to or we need to look at, the issue is not even the farmer and the practices. We have really trained them on that. The issue is the soil in that place. It has been used over time. The farmers have sprayed a lot of chemicals, and therefore the soil is depleted. I think we need to look for experts. You see, we're now engaging in stakeholder consultations. Then you go to the farmer, and the farmer tells you, you see, these inputs are too much. Yes, I know I'm supposed maybe to put fertilizer. I'm supposed to put ABCD because my soil is poor. But no, the fertilizer is too expensive. This and this is not, it gives you his problems. Then you, as the person working within this community, may decide now to solve this problem. Whom do I need to bring to the table again? And that is where you go to stakeholder categorization. Does the farmer maybe need to access credit so that they can buy the inputs that are required? Just an example I'm giving. Now, therefore, do I need to bring the finance player to the table and convince them that they need to have some products, loan products or financial access products based or meant for the farmers? Okay, those are the things that we are talking about, the identification strategies. So you don't sit somewhere and decide, okay, we are going to, or we have been given a project by the government, or we have won a consultancy, and we are supposed to create dams, or whichever project we are running, or even affordable housing. So we are going to talk to so-and-so, to so-and-so. No, it is a structured process. We have said it has started with a needs assessment. Then you are identifying who is relevant and how. And it is not a one-day thing. Of course, in different scenarios, then we could go broader, much broader on this. When it comes to the engagement strategies now, because we are talking of stakeholder engagement, now we have to understand the needs, which we have talked about. Then there has to be clear communication. I will talk more about the communication now. We have to foster participation, which I've already talked about, that we are co-creating. And we have to make sure that these relationships that are there, we are building them, and not just building, but also sustaining. And I believe my colleague will later come and talk about building and sustaining this relationship. Managing the power dynamics. You have to know what are the protocols that I need to observe, and so on. Do I go and talk to the MCA first, and then I approach the governor? Or do I get the permission from the MCA? How is the flow of information? This is what we're calling the power dynamics. And unless we understand this, you've heard people saying that you need to know, to align yourself, to know where do I need to get my information, so that from there, when I have so-and-so in, then the rest will be easy. I can easily access the other people. Okay. Of course, monitoring regularly and leveraging on technology is very important. Like right now, this is a stakeholder engagement that we are having as a TAGDev team. We are engaging with you. I know most of you are in different places. You're not sitting at one place, but we are having this engagement, leveraging on technology. And technology is changing, and these are things that we cannot undermine. So when we talk of the communication, which I just mentioned, I don't know if you can see some lines on my presentation. There's somebody who I think was trying to do something from their end. I don't know how, and got these blue lines here and there. When we talk of communication, when we are engaging with stakeholders, I want you to remember that you cannot, even for those of you who know the Bible, these two cannot work together unless they agree. Okay? Then there is somebody called George Bernard Shaw, who said that the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. We have identified the stakeholders. We have done the needs assessment. We are ready to run with our project, and we have brought all these community members that we want to interact with. How do we communicate with them? There has to be a structured dissemination of information for clarity and effective decision making. Never assume that it is communicated unless, or never assume that people have understood you unless you are very sure that it has been understood by them. That is why we have people talking of, I was misquoted. They didn't understand me. This is not what I meant. Okay? Now, I want to engage in a very, very small exercise with one of you. So I want someone to volunteer. It's a very simple one, because I realize if I mention people, sometimes they're disappearing, and I don't have a lot of time. I have to conclude. Dr. Muyaka is in the next 15 minutes. I should be done. Yeah. Dr. Muyaka Obranis, my time is running in the next 15 minutes or so.
Yes, Doc.
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Thank you. So I want of the students, one of them just to volunteer for a very short role play with me here. One, please. Hey guys, sio mtihani. Participatory is free. It's running. It's fun. There's no right or wrong thing, and no one can see you, and it's not a tough one even. Do I have one? Yes, Irene. Thank you very much. Irene, this is a scenario that I want you to be a persona and communicate to the person I want you to communicate to. Okay.
Okay.
Kuna form. na umeenda kwa beste yako unamwambia kuna form ya weekend, unaenda kumuitia hiyo form. Assume I'm that friend.
Yes.
Talk to me. Inform me about it.
Niaje heka, kuna form unaweza taka kujoin?
Very nice. Niaje. Sawa.
Yes.
Okay. I am your lecturer and you have some marks issues that you want us to address. Maybe you don't know about marks issues yet. I'm your lecturer and you missed a class. And you understood that there is a regulation. If you've missed a class a number of times, you can't sit for a cut. Time ya cut imefika na hujamit your regulation. I'm your lecturer and you want me to allow you to sit for the cut of the exam. Express yourself.
Good evening, sir. I'm Irene Nandwa from the communication class. Okay, sorry.
Okay, fine. That's okay up to that point. I understand. I'm interested in the introduction, so it's okay up to that point. So I know where you're going.
Yes.
The strike was on.
I was trying to maintain a formal tone.
Yes.
With the lecture.
Yes, I know. Yeah, we are still going on. I know.
Okay.
Now, another scenario. The strike was on and you didn't go home na sasa pesa imeisha. Unapigia mzae because unataka tu pesa ya kusurvive. Talk to him.
Hey, Dad. How is everything? I was wondering if you could lend me some money.
Okay, up to that point is okay. So you see how everything is. You're even finding out what's happening at home. Okay. You are a student leader, or you've been appointed by your class because there's a stakeholder engagement like office ya VC, and you have been invited to give your views, and you've met the VC. You want to address him, or you're addressing him. Start the conversation.
Hello, sir. Wait, could you please repeat?
You are meeting the VC to express some issues regarding the students. You've been sent as a representative. Let me use that in an engagement. You're meeting the VC. You're expressing your concerns from the students. Start the conversation. Just the start.
Good evening, sir. I'm Irene Nandwa, a student rep. Okay, that's a tricky one.
That's fine enough. Thank you, Irene. Thank you very much. Now, in all those scenarios, those of you guys, you're reasoning, you heard how she was approaching it. There is one that is very informal. There is one that is formal. There is one that is semi-formal. Kuna mahali hata yeye mwenyewe anashindwa ataanza aje. I didn't just want to go and say now you've met the president. Not in a campaign, but in his office at State House, you've been invited and you're addressing. So what does this mean? Let me give you other scenarios. Because communication depends, effective communication depends on whom you're communicating with and why of the message. Communication does not always have to be by the words that are there. You've seen sometimes in military parades and so on, maybe once or twice. You see we know the president is the commander-in-chief. But sometimes, like I remember the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, I think he wore the military regalia just once in his time. I think the current president has only worn it also once. You see, when he does that, it is not just that the clothes look good, you know that they feel good, but it is communicating something. It is saying something, it's showing power. Okay. When you go to a hotel, for instance, and there are people dressed in given way, it would be very easy to identify the chef, the waiter, and so on. Maybe even the manager, even without the tags, because of how they are dressed. Different occasions sometimes call for different way of dressing, for instance, the dress code. And mastering these different ways of communication is very important when you know whom you are communicating to and how you structure the message. Going back to our example, If it is the farmer, you could just go in and talk to them and ask them, okay, what's going on? What has been going on? If it is the MCA, you may even have to book an appointment with him. You may even have to write, okay, something like that. Or you get to him and he tells you, I need you to write something, okay? And then I can present to the governor or maybe to the county assembly. Same case applies if you are going to talk to policymakers. You will not just show up and you're like, hey guys, I'm here. I wanted us to talk about this and that. No, you may have written something in advance. What you hear people calling of submissions or petitions, because it depends on who you're addressing and why. And you now, as a professional who will leave this place and will go interact with the communities, you need to know what are the best communication channels and the best tools and the languages and the avenue that I need to use so that I can get my message across to the person who needs to get it, and that they will actually take that message seriously. Because the single biggest problem is we assume, or the illusion, that it has taken place. You've met the president, you've told him, we as students, we need more help. And he has said in the Mukutano campaign, okay, hiyo maneno tutaangalia. Do you think the communication has taken place? You think it has, but has it really taken place? Because once you're communicating, you need for there to be an impact. So we have tailored messaging. You have to select the right channel. You may not send a message, as she was saying, to the lecturer on WhatsApp, and hey, hello, sir, I missed ABCD, and therefore I'm requesting. Have you really communicated? You need to show up in person, as you've said. Okay? Because the channel has to be well designed so that it can deliver the message that was intended. So I think I've talked about the channels and the tactics in the process when I was explaining, because I'm not really going by the presentation, just bringing it out. Now, when you're talking of the tactics, again, depending on whom you're interacting with, storytelling could work, visual aids, two-way dialogue, consistent messaging, and so on. There are so many tactics that you can employ, again, depending on the audience. If we come for the lecture, it is a lecture at that point. You go to church, it is a preaching or a sermon. You go to a political rally, it's a speech or something like that. If you're talking to the farmers or the elderly people, they don't want you to keep there talking to them. They want to see things, maybe even practicals, role playing. So you need to segment and profile the audience. This is the problem. We assume that I'm going to talk to so and so people, and we overly rely on verbal communication. But what are the other channels and tactics that we can exploit? Because Andrew Grove said that effective communication is measured by how well others understand, not how well you speak. By the end of this session, you understanding the strategies of community engagement is not based on how well I am talking. It is based on, have you gotten the content? You. So the assessment is done by the end user, not the originator of the message. And that is what you need to understand. So when you're having these activities, therefore, because you are working or you will be working in the community, different levels. Remember, I am talking of engaging with communities, as I started with the first slide, at different levels, and with different people. It could be one person dialogue. It could be two people. It could be a class. It could be a group of farmers. It could be other players that you brought around, a whole engagement. When you are having such engagements, you need to know what kind of an event am I supposed to organize. There's somebody who joked that real deals don't happen in boardrooms and such like things, but real business is moved over a cup of coffee or some other colored waters in different settings, but not in boardroom. A boardroom is just the formalities that are there. So you need to know, for the message that I need to put across and the target that I have, whom or what kind of event would best do that. Next week, and though I was not told to do it, let me take that chance to invite you, because I think next week, Branis can confirm, I think on Tuesday, there's a walk organized by the TAGDev team to raise awareness on gender issues. You see, it is a walk. It could have been a party, a tea party. It could have been a meeting or a gathering. But so that you can communicate who is the target. When the people see you walking, when you have organized that walk, how is it communicating? It is best, or it is the best mode of communication for that kind of an event. If we want to bring interactions or integration within the community, we have cultural weeks at the university. It is not just something to fill the calendar of the university, but it is something that has been specifically designed to achieve that objective. And that is why people will come with, you have seen it or you will see it if you're in first year, people coming with their traditional attires, their traditional foods, and so on. And now, even just the other day, you saw what was happening with the government, the media. They went during the Maasai cultural day, I think, or something like that, when the Amboseli was handed over to them. So the fact that that event was used as a platform to give the people of those areas, the pastoralists, the management of an Amboseli National Park, was not just something that happened. It was not by chance that they said, oh, the Maasai people will be meeting. Let us go and give them. No, it was very well planned. And this is the kind of event that will help us to best achieve and have an impact, even help us gain mileage of whichever form, political or in any other. Okay? We could have holiday celebrations. When you're celebrating your heroes, why don't we just say we have heroes every day? Why do we recognize them on Heroes Day? The type of the event. Okay? So when you are engaging the stakeholders that you have or the community, and you know the kind of message you want to push out, then you will know what kind of an event do I need to organize. And when you know the kind of event that you want to organize, again, it will also help you determine what kind of people need to be there and the kind of planning that needs to be there. So there are planning steps that are involved, which I think are self-explanatory. We're planning events. We don't need to take you through a long discussion on that. But of course, we have to have the objective. The audience understands what you're doing. You have to have a budget. Please, you don't plan an event for 50 people and invite 100 people. And this happens a lot. It will be chaos. And people will not even get the message. You've heard this story of watu wakisema walienda harusi, waliosha mikono na hakukula kwa lineage. I know you've heard about that. Probably because the people that were invited were more than the resources that were there, or the budgeting was not done right. Team assembly, whom do you need to work with? We were having this training. As Dr. Muyaka mentioned, they picked who can handle what, who is best placed to handle this, okay? And organizing all the other logistics, including event management and post-event evaluation, okay? That is why, for instance, in this case, Brannis is here helping us to manage, okay? When you have, at the end of it, you have an evaluation so that you can know. I was engaging farmers in Teso, for instance. I encountered this challenge. When I go to deal with other farmers in Uasin Gishu, what am I supposed to do? What are the challenges I should try to avoid? If I was engaging a stakeholder like a World Food Program or an NGO, and I had these challenges, or they pointed out these weaknesses in our event or in our organization, when I am going to engage another one, then what are the issues that I need to address? That is learning, okay? What we call monitoring, evaluation, and learning. And therefore, it helps you to be better with time. So I hope that this gives you, it's a tip of the iceberg on the strategies of community engagement. Hope you can have more time to keep interacting and talking about these things, but also just to open up your mind that these strategies are there. You don't just engage with people. Try to find out, learn, equip yourself within these 4 years that you're at the university. Interact with different people with different aspects. Engage with them, chat along with them when they are going to some of these things. That's why we have things like internships and so on. They are not meant to just take your time, but you learn something. Because at the end of the day, your network is your network. The network you have, the people you have, they train you on some other aspects. I'm 1 minute past my time. Really tried to make my presentation within the given time. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. Asante sana. Over to you, Dr. Mia.
Thank you so much, Dr. Heka. Yeah, I think we do what we normally do well. I can see Irene doing that. We are very grateful for that elaborate presentation by Dr. Heka. You can see how things are building, thinking through the community, how to engage, how to ensure that we are communicating, and how do we want even to bring the change. And I'm very, very happy with the example you are giving. Because I remember one time in my life, I was involved to evaluate a program somewhere. And people came and built a water point for a community. Because they believed that community people are walking so many kilometers to collect water. And they came, we went there to evaluate after a year, and we found people are not using the water point. So the question was why? And they say it was built in a wrong place, because for us, we normally collect water where it's a place that is a bit hidden. And normally in that community, there are women who are collecting water. They were saying that's the only time we have an opportunity to talk about our families and talk about our men. And now we have put it at the center there, and now we can't do it. So we still go back to our place so that we're able to talk about what we need to talk to. So in other words, some of these provisions also have a cultural element of it. So there's a cultural element in each and everything. If they had engaged this community probably in a better process to co-create, they would have found a slightly better place to place that water than where it was. So I can't appreciate you more, Dr. Heka, for that. I want to welcome our last speaker. That's Dr. TAGDev, who will handle the last session for this module, and we will have a complete module with us. Dr. Chebet, I don't know whether you're in position where you are to pick up from where Dr. Heka has left.
Thank you, Dr. Muyaka.
Thank you so much.
For this opportunity. Maybe I don't know whether people need 2 minutes to stretch, even as I load my presentation.
Yes, I think, the participants, what do you think? We're just saying that we take a health break, just 3 minutes to think through. We are not moving out, just think through as Dr. Chebet puts together the presentation. We relax and we say this is not a class. We're engaging, we're exchanging what we know. We want to engage with you on what you know, and there's no right, wrong answer here. We are building a thinking towards how do we make our community better, and how do we get better services from where we are, how do we approach an officer to get the information, and how do we respond to someone who is seeking information from us. All that is what we are building. There's a community, and that community is characterized by some relationship, and that relationship, we have to make it better for ourselves and for people who are working with us, people who are seeking services from us, and those we are seeking services from. Dr. Chebet, I think we have eaten only 1 minute. Yeah, so we can give you.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just switching into my laptop. Let me
No
just
worries.
let me use the opportunity to introduce myself, and then once I get into the laptop, then I will share my presentation. Yeah, so my name is Daniel Chebet, Dr. Daniel Chebet from School of Agriculture and Biotechnology, Department of Seed, Crop, and Horticulture Science. I'm so glad for this opportunity to be able to. Just a minute. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
I believe I'm audible now.
We can hear you clearly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, sorry, I think I could not unmute, but now I'm able to unmute. Yeah, so I will thank you for this opportunity once again. I had introduced myself. Daniel Chabet is my name, and from School of Agriculture. So I know we've had a long session. I wish to take not so much time because a lot of the content has really been covered. And what I have prepared is more or less an overview because of things that have already been mentioned that are relevant. So I will straight away go to the outline of my presentation. I just want to, I am going to present on establishing and sustaining relationships, which is also about social and emotional skills that students you need in order to survive. But before we get there, I will just give a brief on the 21st century skills. I know this particular course that we are going through or module is on how to prepare ourselves for 21st century skills. And for sure, this is very important. I can tell you for sure that looking back through the time I was in the university, I wish I had gotten these skills, and even in the early part of my career, because it would have made a very big difference. So you guys are lucky that you are getting to learn these skills at the very beginning of your study. If you're in first year, but although even if you're in a second year, third year, fourth year, then these skills are very relevant. Now, you may wonder why we are calling it 21st century skills. What is so special about this? What is special is that things have changed. And I think many of us might actually not be aware about this, but if you look back 5, 10, 15, 20 years back, and even earlier, you will clearly know, or if you talk to older people, they get amazed at the way things have changed. And for this reason, we need these skills. It is not just normal. In the olden times, people relied on their own natural skills to navigate the world. But now, these 21st century skills are equipping us to be able to navigate, to survive, and to even thrive. Navigate, survive, and thrive. You're not just going to navigate, you're not just going to survive, but when you get these skills, you're able to thrive in this 21st century that we are in. Another point is that these are learned skills. These are skills. That means you learn them. They are not natural. In the earlier times, people relied on their own natural skills to be able to survive. Now, what are these skills? Dr. Muyaka did a good job in giving us these skills, examples of these skills. I will just run through about 2 or 3 of these skills before we move on to the topic of my discussion. So the first skill that we have is what we can call a learning and innovation skill or cognitive skills. This is what will allow you to process information, reason, remember, and solve problems. Process information, reason, remember, and solve problems. Because on a daily basis, what you will come to realize as you exit university and you go into your work environment, every day is an opportunity to solve problems. But for you to become successful in solving problems, then you need a skill. You need what you are calling learning and innovation skills. And when you talk about that, then we are talking about critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skills means analyzing, questioning, evaluating, and solving problems logically. Now, this is very important because we are in the information age. We are in the social media era. And in this era of social media, we are bombarded with information left, right, and center. What we might not be able to realize is that some of the information that we get is not true, is not accurate, is fake. There's a lot of fake news. Now, the question is, how are you going to differentiate between real news and fake news that we get in the media? And that is where the critical thinking skills come in. Another component of that is skills on creativity and innovation. Now, it is creativity and innovation are things that you learn. They are not natural. You might consider yourself not to be a creative person, or you might consider yourself not to be an innovative person. I remember at one time, I formed, when I was head of department, I formed a WhatsApp and invited the students to join, and it was a WhatsApp on innovation. And out of about 300 students or 200 students from the department, there were only about 10 who could join, who volunteered to join. And I was asking them, the rest, why didn't you join? Because we are going to talk about innovations. And they were completely stuck. And they said, as we are not innovative, as we are not creative. Now, this is something that is completely not true. Everyone has the ability to become creative. Everyone has the ability to become innovative. And that is what the 21st century is requiring. It is asking for creativity. It is asking for innovation. A lot of money, millions, and perhaps even billions, is paid out for people who are innovative. And now that is what this century requires. And those are the skills that we require in order to become successful in this 21st century. Then we also need skills on solving problems, problem-solving skills, and skills on making of decisions, how to arrive at the best course of action using logic, evidence, and foresight. These are the skills that we need in this 21st century on the part on what you are calling cognitive skills, or learning and innovation skills. Then we have digital and technological skills. This is just related to what I mentioned earlier, because now we are in the digital era. These are skills on how to use digital tools, digital platforms, and digital devices efficiently, and how to use information. This bombarded information that is upon us for searching, evaluating, and on using information responsibly, and also cybersecurity awareness on protection of data and online identity. We see the messes that these have come on a day-to-day basis, and yet these are very crucial when it comes to how to navigate and to thrive. Remember, the word is navigate, survive, and to thrive in this 21st century. It means that those people who are equipped with these kind of skills are able to navigate, thrive, and be able to survive. Then we have social and emotional skills. These are the ones that we will get into and have a discussion in a short while. But basically, they are skills on communication. They are skills on how to do collaboration and teamwork. And I think this has been brought out very clearly by the two previous presenters. And emotional intelligence, and also skills on conflict resolution. Because whether we like it or not, we will get into conflict. Someone said we are either in one conflict or we are getting out of one conflict. Conflict is something that we meet on a day-to-day basis. And so it is important to have these skills. In fact, in the workplace, as we will see in a short while, these are very crucial skills and very precious skills that employers look for. Those people who have these kind of skills have a good position or have a good chance of becoming successful in the work environment. Then we have self-management skills. Sometimes it is called intrapersonal skills. What you have within you, your adaptability, your flexibility, ability to acquire new skill independently, your time management, resilience, and even your financial literacy, basic money management, budgeting, and saving. This will determine whether you become successful or not. Are you adaptable? Are you flexible to the changing environment? Are you willing to learn? Do you take the initiative to acquire new skill? Are you quick at learning a new skill and applying it? How do you handle time management, prioritizing tasks and meeting deadlines? Are you able to do this, or you have no care about time? You know, here in Africa, we say there's no hurry. There's no hurry in Africa. And this is something that, because now we are working, as we will see shortly, the work environment is becoming multicultural. It is becoming international. When you have a meeting that has been set at 10 o'clock in the morning, the African might come in at about 10:30 or even 11 into the meeting, while the other persons, the Muzungus, will come into the meeting at 9:50, 10 minutes even before time. So you can see that already is a source of conflict. Are you resilient? Are you able to persist through the challenges and the setbacks that you meet on a day-to-day basis? So those are important skills to have. Now, the question comes, why is it important to have these 21st century skills? Why is it important to have them? We've already looked at the importance, but then how relevant is it? Why is it important? One of the things that we have to bear in mind is that we live in a world that is changing faster than ever. We live in a world that, if you look at the news, and they were yesterday's news, then we can say they are stale. It is no longer news. You know, in the old days, before social media came, or even now, if you look at the TV would bring in news of events that perhaps happened today or perhaps happened even yesterday. If something happened in the morning, it is no longer news when it is put on the TV at 7 o'clock. People already know it. It is stale news. People want news that has just happened. They want breaking news. They don't want yesterday's news or the news for this morning. And the same case applies to information, not just about news, but about information. So it is important to have in mind that the world is changing faster, and for that reason, you need these critical skills. I mean, you need these skills on critical thinking, creativity, innovation, adaptability, that become crucial even as things change in the world. Secondly, employers. And I know now most of us are looking forward to getting employment. The news is that you are no longer getting employed for the knowledge. Yes, it is good to have that degree. They will look at the degree, but then they will look at something more than the degree. In the old days, as long as you have a degree, you are assured of a job. As long as you have a degree, you will remain in that job. But now, employers are looking for something more than the knowledge that you have. They want to see if you can solve problems. They want to see if you can communicate clearly, if you can collaborate, if you can lead, if you are given to lead. Are you responsible in leading? Can you manage social media? Can you manage digital tools? So these are the skills for the 21st century that are needed out there by the employers. So it is important for you, and that is the reason why we have this news, why we have this information. Also, it will give you the ability to navigate in this complex digital world that we are in. As I mentioned, we are bombarded with all manner of news in the social media. Now we have artificial intelligence. and then we have cyber issues. Without digital literacy, get lost, or people can get lost easily. They can easily be manipulated, or they can be deceived. Are you able to see a post that has come to WhatsApp, to your WhatsApp, or to your any other, to TikTok or any other of your social media handle, and be able to tell that it is fake? To be able to tell that this has been generated by AI, or to be able to tell that it was manipulated. It will get more and more complex, and therefore it is important to have those skills that will allow you to be able to navigate. Then we also live in a global and multicultural village. We are now a global village, and we are now a multicultural village. Some of the work that we do is online, or some of the work that we do are with companies, with people from elsewhere. You might get people from diverse backgrounds, someone from India, someone from the Muslim world, from Iran or from Iraq, someone from Germany. And you know the way we say Germany are when it comes to time, are very conscious, or from China. You can see now we have like 5 or 6 personalities. We have the African, we have the Indian, we have the Arab or the Muslim, the Persian, we have the European, we have the Chinese, perhaps we have a Japanese. We have all manner of workers in the organization. How do you work together in harmony? Yes, it requires information on cultural awareness so that you know the culture of each of these. Someone said that for an Indian, if he wants to say yes, he shakes his head. I think we have seen this. For us, when we see the person has shaken the head, we know it is a no. But for the Indian, it is a yes. So he will tell you yes, and he has shaken his head, but you think he has said no. Iran or the Muslim, when we see the Arabs in the news, we see them as people who have what we could call a short fuse. They can easily get angry, they can easily get agitated. How do you work in an environment like that? Because we are in a global and multicultural village. So we should be able to have skills that will enable us to navigate that kind of environment. Then we also need these skills because it will help us to build on our independence and our confidence, to build independence and confidence. This happens when we learn to set goals, to manage time, to think for ourselves, and to make ethical decisions. And they enable us to grow, to become adults who can run our own lives without constant supervision. Every time we see adverts for employment, this is one of the qualities that they would look at: ability to work with minimal supervision. So these are important skills that need to be put in place. You know, when we talk about, I know most of us are Gen Zs. Perhaps there are a few millennials, but perhaps the teachers are millennials and maybe some Gen Zs. I think we have had the complaints that Gen Zs are people who are, they want instant. They want things instantly, to be done quickly. They are not willing to wait until the elections are coming. They want to change the government on the instant. They want instant. And this also builds up into the work environment. And employers, some of the employers, perhaps you have heard them saying that these Gen Zs, when they come, they are not patient. They are not patient, and therefore they are not able to sustain the work in the office. Or they when they're corrected, they get angry and they quit. And of course, that doesn't build a good working environment. So having these skills will help navigate this 21st century that we are in. And then, of course, we are in such a time that the problems that we face require creative, critical thinkers. It is no longer about the old way of doing things. things have changed. Climate change has come in. There are issues with the economy. There are issues with globalization. And these require people who can analyze problems, who can innovate solutions, and who can work together. So you see, analyzing problem is a skill in itself. Innovation, or how to become innovative, is a skill. And even working together is a skill. And this is why this course, this 21st century course that you have signed into is very important. What I would encourage all of you, because I see the numbers are small, is to stick in there. By the time you finish this course, you will be completely transformed. And it will show in the workplace. It will show in how you organize your life. So that now you are better skilled. Of course, at the end of it, as has been said, you will get a certificate that will prove that you have learned this. These are not lessons that you get in a classroom environment. They are not in a classroom environment. So this is where you get these lessons, and they will do you a lot of good. 21st century skills build on 21st century skills are for problem solvers. They are not just about memorizers. It's not about you going to memorize and passing the exam. It is about you having the ability to solve problems. And of course, this is also good preparation, not just for jobs, but for life, because they help you to improve on relationships, they help you to become resilient, and they also help you to become emotionally intelligent. And that is why it is important to have this. Now, this was a brief of what we discussed in the morning, by the first and the second presenter, and I just thought I should run through it. Now, I want to perhaps take a few minutes to look at the topic that I was allocated, and that is about establishing and sustaining relationships. Establishing and sustaining relationships. And for that to happen, you need to have social and emotional skills for you to be able to successfully establish and sustain relationships. Now, this is something that perhaps would have been taken for granted earlier on, that it was easy to establish relationships. Maybe not even about sustaining relationships, but about sustaining relationships. And if there is something that the generation of the Gen Zs might not have compared to other generations, is the ability to establish relationships. Social media has also taken a big hit on that, because now with social media, you do not need to know how to relate even with one another. You will go to a home setting, and everyone is in his own room or her own room, and it is the entire family. You would find that the father is there and is on social media. The mother is there on her own social media, even in the kitchen as she cooks, and everyone in the house, even if they are babies or children, they would all be in social media. Now, this of course has a bearing on establishing of relationships and also on sustaining the relationships. And that is why it is important to have this, so that you're able to learn this if perhaps you did not know, or perhaps if you knew, then you build on it. You build on it. So here now, we are looking at the people skills and the inner skills. People skills basically is about how you relate to one another, and inner skills is about how you relate within yourself. What we mentioned earlier, your drive, your persistence, your resilience, how you are able to organize yourself, how you are able to handle time. So it is important to have this because they help us to handle relationships, to handle teamwork, they reduce on stress, and they also help us to handle our own emotions. They also help us to handle our own emotions. Now, ideally, it is about starting and maintaining relationships for a long time, if possible, for life. It is about interacting well with others and managing yourself in healthy, productive ways. So that you are not just someone who is smart, but you're also someone who is wise, who is grounded, and who is easy to work with. Easy to work with. That is one of the serious challenges of the workplace, because you would find that some people have not developed the skill of working with others. I'm deliberately calling it a skill because it is something that you learn. You learn. You know, someone can say, it is my nature. I get angry very easily because that is who I am. That is not entirely true. Yes, even if it is who you are, you can unlearn it. You can learn to work well with others. So that is what becomes crucial in the 21st century. Now, we will look at 3 components of this. We will look at building trust, conflict resolution, and effective communication. Building trust, and of course, maintaining trust, conflict resolution, and effective communication. Just to let you know that I am watching at the time, and I think by about perhaps in the next 15 minutes, we should be able to be through so that we can have a session where we can interact, we can ask questions, we can share experiences with one another, both by the students and also by the staff who are already in this meeting. So let's begin with building trust. Building trust. Now, trust is the glue that holds relationships, that holds teams, and that holds communities together. It is the glue that holds relationships, teams, and all communities together. That means that if there is no trust, then the communities will not hold together. If there is no trust, then even families cannot hold together, even relationships will not hold together. They will unravel and they will collapse. Building trust is about showing people that you are reliable, you are honest, you are respectful, and you are safe to deal with. You are reliable, you are honest, you are respectful, and you are safe to deal with. This might look like simple things, but really, that is what we look for in relationships. We want to relate with someone who is reliable, someone who is honest, someone who is respectful, and someone we can safely deal with. It is easy to talk to this person. It is safe to talk to this person. He will not explode. He will not backbite you. He will not, he will not do other things. Now, that is what building trust as a skill enables us to achieve. Now, building trust is not something that you achieve on one moment, one dramatic moment. It is built on small everyday behaviors. So it is something that you build on. As you continue, as you relate, you are able to build the trust. And of course, it can also mean that you can also lose the trust. But the good thing is that even if you lose trust, then you can work on it and be able to regain it once again. Now, how do we build trust? How do we build trust? There are several points that we can use in the building of trust. The first thing that can help us to build trust is consistency. Is consistency of our words and action. What the politicians call kusema na kutenda. You are saying and you are doing. If the two of them go hand in hand, then trust comes in. If your words and your actions are not consistent, then of course trust is not built. So one of the first things that we achieve when we build trust is by our own consistency of words and action. Secondly, honesty. Honesty. Even when it is uncomfortable, it is important to always talk. It is important to always talk with honesty. If you can do something then you say you will do it. If you cannot do something, then you just go out and become honest and say you will do it. You don't say you will do it, and then you fail to do it. You are becoming dishonest, and obviously that will destroy the trust. Trust also comes about with communication. If you communicate clearly, then trust sets in. But if your communication is not clearly, is not clear, then the trust will die. If there is confusion, or if there is no silence, or if there is silence, then trust will definitely not take place. Trust also comes in when you respect boundaries, when you respect people's limits, people's values, and people's privacy. And this is very crucial when we see, especially in this era of social media. Many relationships have been broken because someone has not been good in respecting the other person's privacy. And I was just seeing was it yesterday? I was seeing with a lot of interest, people are saying that they are no longer going to the bars to drink. It's not something that I can encourage anyone to do, but I was saying that they are saying they are not going to the bars to drink because when they are drunk, someone takes their picture and posts it, and you become a laughing stock. Your children will see it. Your parents will see it. If you are a guy of the church and you go to drink, even your pastor and the congregation will be able to see. And so, and of course, it means that you lose the trust. Therefore, you lose trust when you do not respect people's limits, values, and privacy. Trust is also lost when people do not keep confidence. You know what we say, you talk too much. This person talks too much. Kimbelembele. He talks too much. He knows it all. You know, so those people are usually not very trustworthy. Admitting mistakes quickly. Admitting mistakes quickly. Some people will never admit mistakes. Instead, they become defensive, or they blame. They thrive in shifting of blame and also covering up their mistakes instead of bringing them out. That is the quickest way to lose trust. So admit your mistakes, and the word is admit your mistakes quickly. Do not wait until you are found out so that you say, enyewe, hapa nilikuwa nimekosea. And you knew it all along that ulikuwa umekosea. You are just covering it up, but trust comes in when you admit your mistakes. Also, treat people fairly. Treat people fairly. Do not have favorism. Do not have exclusion or unfair decisions. I think the common thing that we normally hear people say is that this is not fair. It is unfair. You are not being fair to me because the person does not feel that you have respected and you have not treated them well. You have favored someone else. That is how to lose trust. Also, when communities are not involved in decisions or in resource provisions, then the trust will go. The trust will go. Now, what at this early stage, it is important to just evaluate yourself and check. Do you have a weakness in these areas? Is there something that you know you can correct and be able to build trust so that now you can be able to build relationships? Remember, we said you build relationships even for life where that is necessary. Now, what happens if you lose trust? Can it be broken? Can it be repaired? Yes, of course it can be repaired. Acknowledge your mistake. Acknowledge what went wrong. Apologize. Apologizing is not a weakness. Apologizing, in fact, is a strength. Apologize. Explain what you will do differently and actually change your behavior. Take steps to change the behavior. That way, you are able to regain the trust. Look at something, even if you are not wholly responsible for it, look at it critically, and acknowledge where perhaps you went wrong, where you need to apologize and be sincere in the apology, and take steps to actually change the behavior. So that is important as far as building trust is concerned. We said there are three core areas that we need to look at. We look at building trust, and we've just been looking at how trust is lost, and we say trust is the glue that holds relationships together. And we also look at conflict resolution, and finally look at effective communication. Now let's look at conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. And like I mentioned, conflicts are things that are with us. Conflicts will never go away. Conflicts will always be with us, whether we like it or not. And conflicts can be resolved, or conflicts can lead to permanent breakage of relationships. So the ability to calmly address disagreements, to understand different perspectives, and to find a solution that respects everyone involved is what is called conflict resolution. It is not about winning. It is not about proving that someone else is wrong. It is about restoring harmony while solving the problem. Once again, remember, we are talking about 21st century skills. And one of the skills of the 21st century is on conflict resolution. It is a very competitive world. And this country is not to be a very competitive country. And people want to win at all costs. People want to get ahead at all costs. Yes, that could be something that is good if it is ethical, but then in the long run, the winning actually comes when we work together, and that involves addressing disagreements in a calm way and respecting everyone that is involved. Now, how does conflicts arise? Several things that lead to conflicts arising. First of all is miscommunication. How you communicate determines whether conflict will arise or not. People can misunderstand the message. They can misunderstand the tone at which you have used, the intentions, or even the instructions. So when this misunderstanding comes in, then you find that conflicts easily arise. There are also differences in values and beliefs. People come from different backgrounds and cultures, and what feels normal for one person might be offensive to another person. So you might do something that to you is okay, but another person is offended by it. And when that offense comes, then it leads to conflicts. Then there are expectations that are unmet needs and expectations. You have promised heaven. You remember, I think one of the difficulties that we have with the leadership of this nation is that people said, you overpromised. You promised us so much, and we don't see you even working to meet those expectations. So you see, that is one of the sources of the conflicts that we see in the political situation of this country. Unmet needs and expectations. Then, of course, there are personality clashes. Some people are loud, some people are quiet, some people are direct, and some people are sensitive. So when different personalities meet, then it can lead to conflict. Again, people can say, but this is who I am. I am a loud person. I cannot change. But we are saying these things can be changed. It is a skill. You can learn it. You can learn for the sake of avoiding conflicts. Conflicts also arise, of course, when resources are limited. Time is limited. Money is limited. Even attention can be limited. someone is not paying attention because he's fixed up doing something else. You're not listening to me. It becomes a source of conflict. And even authority, there are limited people in authority, and how they exercise their authority determines when there'll be conflict or not. Then there are poor communication styles. How you communicate something determines whether it will lead to conflict or not. The tone that you use. Some could be even accusations, accusing a person. How you accuse a person. It could be someone is talking and you're interrupting. It becomes a source of conflict. Aggressiveness, sarcasm, you are sarcastic. All these can trigger conflict even when an issue is small. And here, an issue is small and it has become mountainous, it has become big. We sometimes read in the papers that someone has been killed over 20 shillings. Alienda akakula mahindi ya 20 shillings na hakulipa, and he ended up losing his life. It is not
Is Daktari still on, or I'm the one who has lost him?
I lost him too.
Me too.
And I think it was almost finalizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can reach out just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, it's reconnecting. Let's just give him like a minute, and then it's coming to wrap up so that we also call it a day.
Okay.
In the meantime, the participants, if you check the chat section, there is a form there, some form of evaluation. As we listen, we can evaluate how our module has gone so that we even improve it further.
Yeah, on the same, just adding again, if anyone has not registered on the attendance sheet, please make sure you do. It's also online. I think Pranis had shared the link of the same.
I'm not seeing the attendance list. Maybe you can clarify and tell us where we can fill it.
Branis, you can clarify on that. as we wait for the time.
Looks like Dr. Chebet still has a problem. Hello, Tim.
Hi, sorry. There's a Google Sheet that I had shared earlier as we wait for Dr. Chebet for you to fill your details in terms of your name, email address, and other data, and your expectations from these classes. So in case you didn't get to see it, just let me know. I will send it to the chat again in a few.
Yeah, and Brandon, there is someone who's also requesting the link to the WhatsApp group so that's easier for communication. It is good to put them on one group because we are going to we will utilize that group for running the coming trainings. So if possible, if that link can be shared, still that will be okay. I'm thinking because Dr. Chebet was almost just finalizing, if he's not in position to, I think we might want to finalize. Dr. Eka, what do you think? I know the section were cross-cutting.
Yes, if he's having a challenge to reconnect, I think it's okay. We can conclude because I think he was on the conflicts, where conflicts arise, and then conflict resolution. And I think that was on tackling that part, which was on sustaining relationships.
Okay.
So I think I believe the materials will be shared, and in my opinion, the bulk of the presentation had been covered. If it doesn't make it back, I just conclude.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I totally agree because he had just covered content on conflict resolution, and he had indicated a number of things. I think the only thing that he was to finalize with is how do we sustain interaction? That is trying to look at the strategies for sustaining interaction. If he comes in, he can pick it and finalize. But of course, there are some number of ways that we can utilize to ensure that we have sustained interaction. And part of it is what other colleagues had already presented. For instance, strong communication, that we are able to communicate on a regular basis. And this communication should be guided by transparency. We are being transparent with each and everyone. It makes it slightly easier for us to form strong communication. If you engage with the people who are transparent with you, then chances are high that you will have strong, communication, rather than people you believe that they are sly. And the most natural thing is that you will not trust each and everything that will be coming from them. Then, of course, encouragement in terms of the participation itself. And the argument is that we can volunteer whenever the opportunities to support the community in what in any of the adventures they're involved in. So the more we involve, the more we form engagement, the more we have a relationship, the more we are likely to make the relationship even more profound. Because if I have an issue and you come in for me, then chances are high that I will think of you anytime I have an opportunity. And then, of course, nurturing the relationship itself. And there are so many ways that we do that. You're talking about networking. I saw one of the presenters saying that your net worth, your networks is your net worth. If I want to know how much you can raise, then I need to know the individuals you're working with. So if you have a strong girl club or boy club, then chances are higher that you are likely to have a better network and therefore able to solve some of the issues that might come. And so the argument is that then you have to ensure you're having strong networks, because those are the strong networks that will sustain the engagements as it were. And then, of course, education resources and exclusive benefit, and of course, issues of effective technology use. Again, there are so many technology, opportunities in terms of technology use that are available. So we have to use them, to build our relationship rather than using them to, again, cause chaos in terms of the interactions. Of course, one of the presenters talked about availability of technology, which can be used positively to build yourself, but can also be used negatively if you're not very careful. So in this case, we are saying use of technology can be one of the avenues to build a strong relationship. And of course, seeking feedback as part and parcel of what we do, that every time we have an engagement, that we are able to seek feedback. And this feedback helps us in improving what we have. Just the way we are saying, even with this training, that we have had some training on this module. But the question is, what do you think we can improve? What do you think we have done very well? So that it helps us moving the same. So I was just holding brief for Dr. Chebet, who has just had a technical problem. It happens a lot when we are dealing with technology. But colleagues, unless otherwise, I will want to
Doc,
stop at that.
Can I finish?
Yeah, yes, please, Dr. Chebet, you had just taken over in the interest of time, but you can have your 5 minutes to finalize, please, so that 5 minutes will be adequate for you to finalize.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what happened. I just found myself thrown out. Yeah, but I was just about to finish. Actually, I'm not even going to take 5 minutes. I don't know whether you can see my screen.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
You can see it.
Okay, so I was looking at why conflicts arise. And I think we were at the point of looking at just a minute. We're looking at limited resources, poor communication, past arts or history, stress and emotional pressure. Maybe the last ones, power struggles, in control of resources, authority and influence, competition. Sometimes even when healthy competition is there, when we have issues of pride, insecurity, and jealousy, it becomes unhealthy and conflicts arise. Then a cultural or social misunderstanding, like different communication styles, traditions, and norms, can lead to conflict even when the offense was not intended. And lastly, where we have perceived unfairness, inequality or perceived unfairness, people feel that they are ignored or undervalued or disregarded, or they are treated unfairly. It leads to conflict. Lastly, I want us to look at the skills that you can use in solving conflict. We said one of the first causes of conflict is miscommunication or poor communication. And this is one of those major sources of conflict. What we call active listening. Active listening is where you listen to someone and you hear what he's going to say. You're not just waiting for an opportunity to respond. When you're talking to someone, it is very common, or it is very possible that that person is just waiting to respond to what you're going to say. And then, because you've not heard him, you've not heard what the person said, then even as you respond, the person will get agitated. I've just talked about this and you're not even listening. So one skill is let the other person speak and finish without interrupting, and even reflect back to what they are saying. So this is what you felt. Show that you understand their point. Sometimes you may even repeat what the person says. If you repeat what the person says, then it communicates to the person that you are actually listening to him. And it takes away the source of conflict. Another one is to stay calm. In that point of conflict, stay calm. Take a breath, step back, pause from the conversations if the emotions begin to rise. Conflict plus anger leads to explosion, but conflict plus calmness leads to a solution. So stay calm, do not overreact when the other person is agitated. Then identify the source of the conflict. Identify the real issue. Go to the root cause of it. Sometimes people argue about the symptoms and not the real cause. Also, you can use statements that will not escalate the conflict. Use I statement instead of you statement. This cools down things and keeps them from becoming more aggressive. For example, this is an example of what you can use. I feel overwhelmed. The person has gone way beyond the deadline. And of course, the person is rightly, and you are very angry with the person. So instead of saying you are always delaying, then you say, I feel overwhelmed, I feel angry, I feel disappointed when the work is delayed, when the work is not done on time. You see, you are passing the same information, but in this case, you are doing it in a manner that will not escalate the conflict. That will not escalate the conflict. Then, the next point, find common ground. Find common ground. Even in heated disagreements, there could be something that both of you want. Both of you want the project to succeed. Both of you want to graduate. If you're in a relationship, both of you want the relationship to succeed. If you're married, both of you want the marriage to succeed. But of course, conflicts will always arise. So even in the heat of the disagreements, always find the common ground and start from there. And that will help in de-escalating the conflict. And then collaborate on finding a solution. The best solution comes when both parties help in creating the solution. So you are not giving an instruction and saying, this is what you must do. But instead you are saying, what can we both do in order to fix the problem? Then compromise. Compromise. Look for the win-win solution. Sometimes it might take each side giving a little, or sometimes it might take finding a creative option that satisfies both of you. Either way, both of you will be able to have the relationship build up when you both walk away feeling that you are respected. So that is how you are able to resolve the conflicts. Now, how do you ensure that you have strong engagements? We mentioned that the relationship you build is not just temporary. You want to build relationships for life. And here, you look at the communication, ensure that you give regular updates, ensure that everyone participates, nurture the relationship by organizing events and celebrations, value propositions, or providing resources to enable the people to be able to work together and ensure that the relationship is sustained. To ensure that the relationship is sustained. And then ensure that you have recurrent events that will enable the people to have a buy-in, have regular meetings, make use of technology, social media, appreciate events and personal acknowledgements of contributions, build a a sense of belonging, and respond to feedback. Respond to feedback that has been given. When you do all these, then these are the things that will build the relationships and will ensure that the relationships become sustained for a long period of time. So I have come to the end of my presentation. I want to apologize for the mishap that came with the technology. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to this presentation. Over to you, Dr. Muyaka.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Daniel, for the good presentation. You have utilized your time well. I think technology is technology. Sometimes it can fail us. In this time, it didn't fail us much. We can do what we normally do well for a good presentation like this. Online, I want to see appreciation for Dr. Chebet for the presentation. Yes. Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you so much, Mercy Faith. Yeah, thank you so much. Now, as we come to the end of the module, we were not here to talk to you, but we were here to create a thinking. I might just want to open the floor for less than 5 or so minutes to listen to our students. Just in case you have a question, concern on any of the presentation that has been made, and then you have an opportunity to engage us. It can be a question, it can be a suggestion, but then we keep it to 5 minutes alone because we have already taken a lot of time. We want to be out of this place by 15 minutes to 7. So that we engage. I know students, some might be in the university, so you might want to move to where you stay. Please, if you have any question, concern to the presenters, facilitators, in the meantime, you can still write. I'll be able to pick them and ask if there is any. Anyone who has a question, you can just unmute and ask, please. I'm checking the chat to see if there's any question. And M. Kemboy says, to gain relevant, this is expectation. That's okay. I request you to reshape, to resend, I guess. Moses will want the WhatsApp link. I think we already asked Brownies to do that. Yeah, that's fine. I don't see any question there. So I'm imagining that all is well at that particular point. Now, as I'd indicated, that there is a link that we have shared on evaluation of what we have done. Kindly go ahead and evaluate now, and even after the meeting is over. You can pick the link and then fill the form. It's just about 3 or 4 questions. For those who are yet to open the link, it's just about 4 or so questions. So please do that for us, and we'll be more than grateful. Allow me to just appreciate the students and let you know that sometimes you might not know exactly what you are doing until the time you're out there and you realize that what we have covered here might not give you an A in your academic work, but has prepared you for the kind of a life that you're likely to live the rest of the time we'll have in this world. Secondly, for those of us who are in the process of looking for jobs, you will realize immediately you get out of the university, everyone will have a degree. So what is that that's going to differentiate you from your colleague? Partly could be some of the modules that we are really running here. But we are not just running for jobs alone, but we are running this module so that people are able to create jobs for themselves. But it's also going to change their lives so that you live a positive life, a life that is able to support yourself and support those who are around you. So I can't appreciate you more. Just know that as a team, we are more than grateful for the 40 or so students who spared their time and joined this module. Be our ambassadors. Next time, we are going to run even more engaging and very useful modules. Starting from next week, we are going to have Entrepreneurship 101. We want you not just to think about what people can offer you, but we also want you to start thinking about what is it that you can offer the world. So spread it to your friends. Ask your friends to join those who have time, still same time. we still be able to share the link. We have a feeling that we have a group in which most of our information we are going to share. I will just welcome my colleagues if any of the facilitators has something to say as we come to the end of the training. Is there anything wrap up from any of our facilitators? Dr. Eka, is there any?
Thank you, Dr. Mine is very brief. Just to mention, just as I said, the skills that you're gaining from these modules, they should be running. They have been planned on how they will run throughout the semester, as was indicated. Just to emphasize what Dr. Muyaka has mentioned, when you have your degree out there, you realize it is not enough. You need people skills. You need to be smart, not just knowledgeable. You've had instances of somebody saying you are leaving a job and you don't even report. You know, issues of communication are what we're talking about. You've not even reported that you're leaving. When you're called is when you're saying, oh, I left that job. Or somebody writes a resignation letter and you've just written, dear boss, kwaheri. You know, and that is it. Only for you to realize when you go for the next job, they are asking or looking at the CV and said, you work for this period, this gap, how do you explain it? Some may even ask for a recommendation from the previous employer, for instance. Or if you don't, it's not even about employment. It is about you starting your own engagement and you're looking for partners. And they ask, if you see here that you are an employee at some point, can we get a testimonial from the people you are working with? Can we get a recommendation? Then you look back and there is no one to recommend because of the way you left, the bridges that you burned. So these things that you're being trained here are not in the books, are not in the curriculum, but they're very important. And as mentioned, most of the time you realize when you get out there. So take them seriously, keep engaging, keep consulting, because it is not about just the training, it's also about mentorship, preparing you to be people who will transform the community, because that is the objective that TAGDev has, to transform. Otherwise, thank you very much, and I wish you all a blessed evening. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you so much, Dr. Heka. Any issue from Branis? Branis, you have any announcement?
Yes, I just to appreciate all of us, both the moderator, that's you, Dr. Miyaka, the presenters, thank you so much. The students, we really, really appreciate you for being here, because you're going to gain a lot from what our lecturers have just shown us. And please, if you have any questions, you'd like to reach out about any of the activities that have happened today, please don't forget to reach out. And also, when you need anything to be told, in terms of communication under TAGDev, please make sure just reach out to me. And then we also have our social media channels. That is TAGDev 2.0 UOE. We are on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitter, that is X now. And then we're also on Instagram. Just reach out, ask questions, wherever you need to know about the program. We'll always be there to help you. We appreciate you. And on Tuesday, you can help us spread the word. We are having a walk on gender-based violence, just to create awareness on this and how best to stop it. It's going to happen. The walk will start from Starbucks, that is around Kimomo, all the way to the university. So please, this is just to call us, to invite us to join us for this walk. It's going. There's going to be a digital skills session, and there's going to be also another session from Light Up Hope. They're going to educate us on matter is gender-based violence and how to protect each other. So we are working to ensure that we reach all of our students. So please help us. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Branis. We are invited for creating safe space. That's what she's saying. On Tuesday, please mark that. And then over the weekend, of course, we expect you in Entrepreneurship 101. I would want to ask one of students to close with a word of prayer. Just one. Anyone is able to close for us with a word of prayer, please?
Just before that, pertaining
Yes,
on
Moses.
Tuesday,
Yes,
I just
Moses.
wanted to know the exact time that that activity is going to take place at Starbucks.
Branis, what time so that Moses and team can mobilize themselves, be part of the work?
Yes, we are starting at 10 a.m. We should be at Starbucks by 10 a.m. Then we walk all the way to the university. We are hoping to end the event by around 2 p.m. So yes, we are inviting all of you. Thank you.
So we assemble at 9:30 at Starbucks, please, so that by 10 we are working. You can spread the word to so many of your colleagues so that we also participate in the good activity.
Yes, I'll be sharing the artwork and the invite for all of you so that you can help us just spread the word on the WhatsApp group. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. Someone to pray for us so that we end a good day. Mtu atuombe. Irene Nandu, are you with us? You can pray for us so that we close the We can pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come before your God, word of prayer, putting our activities before your God. You have seen us through. We can't thank you enough for the energy you have given us, the persistence, and the blessings that has come through our facilitators. God, we pray that you're going to help us even put to practice some of the things that we have already learned as we try as much as possible to create good professionals outside there for the communities, but also make our university unique in the sense that it's able to serve you and also serve the humanities. As people break back to their homes, we ask for the journey masses, for those who are traveling. We ask, oh God, that you're going to grant them peace as they deliberate on what we have gone through, and even put the plans we have for next week before you, God, that you're going to bless them. You're going to give us a forecast that will ensure that we're able to deliver what we need to deliver for the sake of humanity, oh God. I pray this short believing and trusting the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
I wish you the very best. Enjoy your evening.
Sawa,
See you
asante
next week.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Even
Bye, everyone. If you've not filled the list, your attendance, kindly do so. Na kama imekushinda ni text pale WhatsApp, takusort. Thank you.